Hi, my name's Graham Kelly and you're watching the LARNE project.
What is going on, guys? Jack here and welcome to episode 21 of the LARNE project, and today it's a double header. Yes, an exciting time to be here. If you missed last episode, it was a slightly longer, more rambly episode. I talked about kind of my thoughts towards signing players and kind of how I've been targeting players here at LARNE. The game against Cliftonville itself wasn't a classic by any means, but if you did miss it and you enjoy my rambling away, it's probably one of your favourite types of episodes. But yes, today it's going to be coming thick and fast with the FM action. We're going to have the first game today, which is against Glenavon, and then we're going to follow that up with the game against Cliftonville. So we're going to be taking on the team in third and then the team in second. The game in between against Addons, I think we will just skip over. Obviously, we've been in fantastic form as of late. I'm hoping we can keep it going. And well, when you look at the league table, there's no reason, I don't think, why we can't keep it going. And there is a possibility here to wrap up the league sooner rather than later. Right now, we are 8 points ahead of Cliftonville, who have played the same amount of games as us. Glenavon, you can see, down on, well, 28 games played with 51 points. If we beat them and then can win the game, the second game of this episode, we're in a great position. And I think the league would be pretty much wrapped up at that point. You can see here, in terms of just player stats, O'Connor right up there on 16 goals. He is trailing Donnelly and Heatley, but of course, we're blessed with a multitude of, I guess, attacking talent that other teams don't have. You know, we've not really had to rely on one player for the goals. You can see Mandanda's 7.44 average rating, one of the best in the league by a notable margin as well. And fantastic for him. And also Nico Williams up there on the assists with 8 to his name. Unfortunately, fortunately he is back. Unfortunately, he's had a few injuries this year, hasn't he, which have kind of impacted him a little bit. We can actually get him back in the team, which is nice because he's been out for just a little while. So let's make sure he's in for today's game. It is going to be a big game for us, obviously. There hasn't been a game since the last episode, so we can pretty much get straight into this. Although I do need to just tweak a few little things here. Just a few players who are slight fitness concerns. You can see here Phoenix on a 78% condition. The rest of the team is looking fairly solid. Obviously, you can see the average ratings across the board here. Very, very good. But there's one average rating that's blank. Yes. Fuad Sul, he's back. I'm very happy to have him back as well because I think he's actually a useful player who fills a role in the team that we've been lacking. A fan favourite returns. And yeah, we paid £35,000 for him in the end from Barnet, which I don't think is too bad at all. Comes in as a backup player on a 3-year deal. So very excited to have him back. And actually, as a defensive midfielder on defend here, you can see he's extremely well suited to the role. Only really his concentration that lets him down. The rest of his attributes just pretty solid, all in all, especially for a backup, which is kind of how I see him fitted into the team for the foreseeable future. In terms of the transfer window, I am actually looking at Pestridge, who was one of the players who I showed last episode when I was going through things. One screen that I haven't shown before is the players scouted screen, which probably is a good screen just to show. So you can see here, players at most 18. These are all the different players that I've unearthed just by scouting. Some of them not that interested in joining us right now. There's some very, very hot talent here that I'd love to bring in, you know, longer term. This is kind of the short list of the best, I guess. But Pestridge here, who we are looking to sign, a player playing for Crewe, very, very consistent, which I absolutely love. Only 16 years old, either-footed, and has very good potential. So I'd like to sign him. Whether or not we're going to be able to remains to be seen, but we've put in a transfer bid of, we can have a look here, £220,000, so not a small amount, but we've got money to spend, and the consistency paired with the fact he's either-footed and he can play a multitude of positions makes me think he might be worth the gamble. So actually we're going to scout him some more. With these kind of players, I tend to just set them up and scout them for 3 months like so. I feel like that's the best way to do things. Lee say, I'd still love to one day sign this guy, even if he is inconsistent. He looks absolutely top-notch playing for Port Vale. Maybe one day, maybe. Obviously, there's other players here we've had our eye on a while. Players like Harry Emery, who I remember talking about last season as a player who I'd like to sign. He's still playing for Inverness. I don't think we're going to be able to get him, but maybe if we can win the league, get the Champions League qualifiers underway, then we can convince players that we're worth joining. You can see the Irish Football Cup draw's been made. We've got Haaland and Wolf Velders. I don't know why I like to say Velders. It's like we're managing in Germany again. But yes, we've got them in the 6th round, so a pretty kind draw there, all things considering. Anyway, let's get into today's game, or rather the first of today's games. It's actually a day ahead. I've come here too soon. So Pesteridge's offer's been accepted. I don't want to treat him as treat this as a stepping stone. Can we get him to join us? We can. I've told him that we are going to win the league this season. Do I want to sign him for 200k? I've actually got to make up my mind here. I think he probably is worth it, to be honest. There's no other players on my radar who I think we're going to be able to sign. We'll see what kind of wages he is expecting. I don't really want to go above 600 if I can avoid it. At the same time, though, I'd quite like to lock him into a lengthy contract, I think. So actually, maybe I need to go a little bit higher. He hasn't got an agent, so that might work in our favour when it comes to negotiating here. He's asking for £1,000, which is a lot. I really don't want the yearly wage rise either. I'm happy to go a little bit higher with the signing on fee. Am I happy with that? I think I am happy with that. It's a 2.5-year deal with an optional 2-year extension. He looks very, very good. Just to kind of put it into perspective, I think the closest player to him is probably Phoenix Patterson in terms of overall quality. If we do just compare the players here, you can kind of see a direct comparison. So he's a little bit worse than Phoenix, but he is only 16 years old. So he's got a few years in his favour, I guess, advantage-wise. And given the fact when you look at his report, he's consistent. Not a whole lot of downsides to him. And my scouts really do rate his potential. I think the 90 recommendation is probably a sign of that. I think he's probably worth bringing in. So, yeah, I think I'm going to do that deal. £200,000 is not a small amount, but we've got the money to spend. I don't want to make it burn a hole in my pocket, but at the same time, I don't want to sit and do nothing with it. Actually, while I remember two things that I've had board request-wise approved recently, we have upgraded our, our data facilities again, which is absolutely fantastic. Obviously, our youth facilities have already been improved. And we're also expanding the stadium. We're paying like £500,000 to expand the stadium by 300 seats. I'm not overly convinced it's the best use of money, but it was a request I could make, and I made it, and the board were happy to oblige. So yeah, a stadium expansion on the way. In terms of our team, we're going to go with Thompson in goal. It's going to be O'Sheen and Michelini in the centre-back positions. Kane out at left-back. Williams at right-back. Newell and Romario Vieira. Simmons out on the left. Mandanda, Glatzel and Connor up top. The only real change is the fact that Phoenix is not fit for today's game, so he's going to be on the bench, and we have to rejig our front team, and obviously Sul is on the bench. Let's see what we can do, though. Big game for us, this one. Away from home, it's not going to be easy. Glenavon have proven to be tough to beat. Despite the fact they are third in the league, I believe they have the fewest defeats this season. So they're not going to be pushovers by any means, but hopefully we can do well against them. Obviously, Morris is the player to be fearful of, I feel like, in this entire team. They have got a few other regions, though. Atkinson here. Maybe we should just get a scout report on him just to familiarise ourselves with him further. They've also got Ferris at right back. Who have they got at left back? They've got Grant here. Unconvinced he's particularly good. Actually, now that I think about it, I think we have a few players on loan at Glenavon who probably are their defenders normally, so that might actually play into our advantage here. Regardless, though, it's not going to be easy. They're proving to be a tough team this year. There's a reason they've been hard to beat. There's a reason they made it to the Europa League group stage. We've got to try and, well, outdo them if we can. That's the challenge that's been set out ahead of us here. And away from home, I expect us, given our run of form, to get a win here, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be plain sailing. I said that a couple of episodes ago when we took on Ballymena and Crusaders and we slaughtered them both. I'd love to do that again. That would be the dream. But football very rarely goes the way you expect it or want it to go. So we'll have to see how we go on as this game progresses. Their team is struggling for fitness. Mandanda, why not? Why not? Saved away. Glatzel, tight angle. Can he get it back into danger? He can't. But yeah, you can see here, looking at their player fitness, they've got a few players down near 70, including their big man, Morris, up top. Our team significantly fresher across the park. So that might play into our favour as this game progresses. I do believe they had a midweek game, so that might be causing them some problems. Opening stages, though, after 35 minutes, not a whole lot of chances for either team. No highlights other than that one free kick. And yeah, it's been pretty even Stevens here, although there might be a chance. Glenavon trying to build up play in their own half. We're going to apply pressure high up the pitch. Can we make something happen here? Big ball played forward. Kane reads it well. Now can we build something? Big ball over the top. Trying to maybe get to Simmons. It was a wayward pass. Now with McLeany. Kane again. Is he going to go long again? No, he's going to go to Newell, and Newell's going to go long to Simmons with pace out wide. O'Connor back post, ball crossed in, kind of. Does that count as a cross? I'm not sure we can count it. McElhaney, lots of hoof ball here. I'm not overly keen on it, boys. Only 51% of possession our way, but one thing we have done as this season's progressed is sacrificed our possession football for clinical football. And while clinical football is what Glenavon have shown there, John Morris with it. Only his 15th goal of the season. Maybe we would expect him to have a few more, but nevertheless, he's got the goal in the big game that really matters here. Just a big switch of play catches us out. It's always a bit of a cause for concern with our system. Neco Williams. I don't know how many times I've made that mistake of Neco being called Nico. At this point, maybe I should just call him Nico. But yeah, unfortunately, with his slightly more advanced position, just caught out. And then, well, the ball gets in behind him. We can't cover it quick enough. And they end up scoring. So yeah, half-time, not good enough, I think, is the easiest way to describe the half. Just across the board, we've been pretty lacklustre. I'm going to tell the players I expect them to make the difference for us. Good responses so far. I'm going to tell the players that there's a lot to come from them, and I believe that they've got what it takes. You can see, just looking at the average ratings, it's been one of those games where no one's really turned up. If I was going to make a sub and bring someone on to have a real spark of impact, who would I bring on? Maybe Lions? Maybe? I mean, Glatzel's been pretty poor, but we've only got Stewart on the bench today just because of the way things are worked out. Although I guess I could put Phoenix out onto the left and play Simmons as a striker. I might go for that, you know. We'll bring in Phoenix because he is very, very good out on the wing. He's good at cutting in on his right foot. Glatzel's not the greatest game, and I feel like Simmons does operate better as that striker is kind of the advance forward in this system rather than the wide man. And obviously we know he can get goals and has the capability to do it. Go tell the players to show some passion. 24 minutes left in this match. Not good enough. Really not good enough. They've not made any subs. They've got some tiring legs. We'll look to exploit that. Big ball over the top. McElhaney, let's not do anything stupid at the back. Ball cleared forward. Mandanda can't win that aerial battle. Trying to smother Atkinson here. Force him into a mistake. Neco Williams switches the play to Phoenix. Can he make something happen here? Goes inside to Mandanda. Options on ahead. Lovely run here, Mandanda. What a run! Oh, if the finish had been there, it would have been superb. Unfortunately, the keeper parries it out for the corner. For a second, though, you wanted to believe. Could we make something of the set piece? Mandanda whips it in. It's headed away. This is the point that's highlight, isn't it? It is. It is. Neco Williams. Just get on with it, game. Get on with it. 15 minutes left in this game. In terms of tactics, what can I change here, really? We've got a few changes left in us. Mandanda's not at the greatest of games. Mario Vieira's been particularly poor. I'm going to bring in Brad Lyons for him. I'm actually going to bring in Sul, and we're going to move him up a little just to be a kind of centre mid on defend. And then we're going to have Lyons, I think, play Mazzala on attack. We need to get men further forward here. Just need to commit a few more men into the final third across the board, I feel like. Time kind of slipping away. It's kind of getting away from us this match. We need to have a bit of a roll of the dice and see what we can do. I'm going to tell the players to go more direct with their passing. We need to be a little bit more hoofbally. No more working the ball into the box. We need to get it forward and fast. Set piece here. I feel like this is just a pointless highlight, but I want to believe I'm wrong. I am wrong. Paul O'Connor. Shut up, Jack. You don't know what you're talking about, son. 1-1. Cancel those changes. We do not need to commit overly on the attack here, although I am still going to bring in Brad Lyons and Sul in the centre of the midfield just to get some fresh legs on there. Unfortunately, we missed the highlight of the goal. Let's see if we can get it again. It was a set-piece masterclass by us. Was it O'Sheen with it? I think it was. Mandanda crosses it in. Is it O'Sheen? I'm not sure who... Oh, no, it was O'Connor. It was O'Connor. Both of them kind of went for the same ball. And, well, he scores against his former club, of course. O'Connor, a player we signed from Glenavon for a big chunk of money. I think it was about £110,000 last year. It's looking like it was worth every penny right now to bring him in. Time ticking away in this game, but to be honest, given how this game's played out, a draw would not be the worst result in the world. I'd kind of take that at this point. 30 seconds left. It looks like that's what we are going to have to settle for. Glenavon are a team that are just tricky to beat. So we've done okay. I'm not going to lose sleep over this performance. unless we can force a horrific mistake out of their defence. It's not going to happen. 1-1 is going to be how this first game of the episode finishes. Not a bad performance at all. We probably were the better team on reflection, but it was a game void of, well, very few great opportunities, really. Kieran Kane at left back ended up getting man of the match. That kind of gives you an idea of what kind of game it was. And apparently I'm not able to give a team talk. I've talked about this before. My mouse sometimes likes to double click. You might sometimes see it when I hit back and it goes back 2 pages. My mouse double inputs. I think it did it just then. So no team talk allowed. You can see here O'Connor's progressing as a striker. He's got accomplished at it. I want him to become natural, of course. He is more naturally that winger player. But he is getting there. And you can see here, unbeaten now in 10 games. So we are keeping that run going in the league, which is very good. If we just look here at the league itself, you can see Glenavon, they've only lost 3 games all year. Cliftonville, I think they also drew, they did against Warren Point Town, who were down in 9th. So that's a very good result for us. And with Addons on the horizon in 8th, you'd expect us to beat them. And that Cliftonville game could be the one that sees us really pull away at the top of the table and, form an insurmountable lead. But anyway, guys, that game is 10 days away. I'm going to get forward to that one immediately. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a second. Okay, guys, so we are back, and as you can see, we've played the game against Addons. 3-1 it finished. A good little game, this one, as far as we're concerned. And, a nice win. It was a shame that we couldn't hold on to the clean sheet, but regardless, we go marching on, another win to add to the collection, and hopefully that is going to be the first of, a few this week. This game, not long after the last one. But to be honest, it's been a bit of an interesting end to the transfer window. So far during our time at LARNE, we've not really had to worry about players trying to force moves. We've not really caught the spotlight, I feel like, of big, Championship and Premier League clubs to the stage where they're putting in bids on our players. But that, in the last week, has changed quite significantly. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Phoenix's goal here, what a finish that is on the volley, by the way. But yeah, 3-1 this finished. A good performance. As I said, it would have been lovely to keep the clean sheet, but alas, it wasn't meant to be. A bit of a scrappy goal, half cleared off the line. Bit of news from this game is the fact that following this match, Kieran Kane twisted his ankle, out for 2 to 5 weeks. That is not ideal at all. He's been in, really good development kind of form and performing pretty well. But no, and a long-term injury, which is going to mean that he is very likely going to miss the final against Cliftonville, because that is only 2 weeks away now. So obviously, we are now on the 28th. You can see, looking at the league table here, we're taking on Cliftonville. A win here would see us go, how many points would it see us go clear? It would see us go 11 points clear with 24 points left. So at that point, I think you'd have to say the title should be wrapped up. Of course, there's still room for it to go completely wrong, but just the way things are playing out, we look good. Anyway, I talked about the transfer kind of shenanigans going on. I think shenanigans is probably the best word for it. We have made a signing, and it is Steve Pesteridge, who I've decided to pick up. In the end, the thing that swung me was the fact that the scouts were thinking he was going to be superb when it came to his potential. I realise here my staff members aren't the best at judging player potential and ability, and obviously he's just joined the club as well. I'm not actually sure which staff member has the best judging player ability and potential, but our scouts rated him very, very highly. So I'm taking the punt, I'm taking the plunge. He's a consistent performer. We're going to see how he gets on. It might turn out to be a big regret. But one of the things that really spurred me on, I guess, to think that £200,000 is just worth taking a punt on was the fact that we have a sale that's going to happen, I hope. And it's this guy, Deli Bashiru. We signed him from Manchester City at the end of his contract this year. He is one of the players who I said I felt like I really overpaid when it came to his wages. He signed a long-term deal at the club. He was a player who was flagged to have a load of potential, but given his current ability and his potential ability, I was just kind of unconvinced he was ever really going to amount to much. And I was kind of regretting it. And it was kind of interesting, actually. You can see here a number of championship teams interested, but Hearts, the team who have actually gone and made the plunge of a big bid. So the way that this started was Brentford made an offer to me, and they said 26. Well, they said, I think they initially put in an offer of say 15,000, and I said I'd like 50, please, kind of a bit of tongue in cheek just to see where they'd go. In the end, I negotiated a deal with them of £26,000. And, the next day, Bristol City and Leeds came in and were like, hey, we'll match that offer. And I negotiated with them. I went, I kind of want more than the money I've just agreed now. How about 60,000 and 50% of the sell-on clause of any future deal? And they went, yeah, okay. So I was thinking £60,000, great. The next day, Norwich came along and they went, £100,000. Maybe you can see where this is going. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, we're getting so much more money than I expected. £100,000 plus 50% of his next transfer fee will go to us as well. Then Birmingham came along and said, hey, how about 150 grand? And I went, yes, please, cancelled it with Norwich. And then most recently, Hearts have come in and gone, yeah, 350 grand, we'll give you 50% in the next sale. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to get more than 350, but it's a massive sum of money for us. You can see here, City are going to get a sell-on clause here. Obviously, they get an aspect of this 50%. They are going to get some of this transfer fee as well. But £350,000 is just a great sum of money. In terms of our percentage of next transfer revenue, I'm not actually sure where it is at right now. I should check, shouldn't I, really? 85% of it. So, really, this sale is going to entirely cover the purchase of Pestridge, which obviously it's not exactly like for like, but it kind of cushions the blow that was the risk of bringing in Steve here. So I'm kind of happy. Other bits of transfer news, you can see here, O'Hanlon has agreed to go to St Patrick's Athletic at the end of his contract, kind of accepted that was going to happen. Ganiyu is going to be leaving potentially on a free just now. Decided to offer him out for nothing because he was kicking up a stink. And the other player, Glatzel, has been, having some interest in him. You can see here, lots of fairly notable clubs interested in him. He has a long-term contract at the club agreed. It's a 5-year contract with an optional 3-year extension, so we're under no obligation to sell him whatsoever. And, so far the transfer offers have been pitiful. You can see here, £40,000 offered by Leeds United, the biggest offer we've had. When you consider we're selling players who aren't playing regularly for us for 350k, and I think Glatzel is better, both in terms of current ability and probably potential, although it's hard to obviously judge that. I don't intend to sell him. It would probably take a bit in the region of £1 million for me to want to sell this guy. He's improved a lot this year. Striker-wise, we do have lots of striking options. It's one of those positions where if we were to lose him, I would not be particularly happy, but I feel like we'd be able to manage. But, not overly happy. And you can see here there's a few other players at the club who are attracting interest. Now, fortunately for us, players like Simmons here is on a long-term deal till 2023. I'd like to maybe get him on an even longer-term contract with an optional extension whilst he's willing to negotiate a new deal. But Glatzel, not a happy bunny right now because I don't want to sell him. I want big money for him if I'm going to let him go. You can see here, in terms of our team for today's game, Kieran Kane not going to be available for selection. So as a result, Benny Tilney is going to come into the team and play left back for us. It's been a while since he was playing for us. You can see here the team that played the most recent game. We did rotate just things a little bit. We brought in Sull, we brought in Lyons. We're going to take those out. Mandanda also sat out the game. Trying to rotate, and against slightly weaker opposition, it was a good opportunity to do so. Addons, we played them only 3 days after the previous game, so not a whole lot of time for recovery. Anyway, let's get into today's game. It's going to be against Glenavon, a massive, massive game for us. Not going to be easy by any means, but, and it's a big but, I do expect us to win at home as well. It's going to be top versus second here, a win here. I don't want to say it would confirm the league title, but you'd say it would put us well on the way to doing it. Of course, we played them fairly recently, although when we took on Cliftonville last time out, they were rotating their team. Today, it's a very different beast. This is the only team that has beaten us since our change in tactics. We want to try and do one over them, get a bit of revenge perhaps for the fact they were the last team to beat us. I'm looking here. We do have a slight kit clash. Not ideal. If you squint and ignore the red, maybe we can make it work. It feels very Christmassy, doesn't it, with the white, red and green everywhere. Oh dear, a kit clash and a half. Well, hopefully it can be okay. They've got another chance here. Donnelly, I don't remember having a kit clash like this last time we played them, so I'm a little bit confused, I'll be honest. I think if you want to see the difference, just look at the socks. It's when our players have their back to play that it becomes a problem, because both teams are playing with entirely red backs to their shirts. But hopefully you guys can bear with me. I mean, I wonder, is 2D any better for this game? I've not used 2D in a while, but I'm wondering if 2D might be a tiny bit better with the current kit clash. You can see here, I think it might be confusing our players a little bit because they're not doing a whole lot right now with the play. We've not had a single shot yet in this game on target. Finally, we get our first one. It only took half an hour. You can see here, Gary Marsh. Oh, did I leave Gary Marsh on? Does that mean O'Sheen's on the bench? That's a mistake. We'll see how Marsh gets on. He's a good, capable centre-back. So I am overly concerned because I'd rather have O'Sheen in the team, obviously. But Mistakes were made, and sometimes you have to get on with them. Obviously, I didn't double check my team, which maybe I should have done. Although, I don't know. I feel like I'm a bit on the beach, so to say, already this season. I feel like the title should be ours, given how well we're playing. I shouldn't get complacent. I'm not leading a good example, but it's hard not to be. We've got a chance maybe here, Simmons. Oh my gosh, he stole it away. You thought for a second he might be able to do it. I'm just going to have a look at 2D. How does 2D look? That's better. We'll go with 2D for this game. Not ideal. It's a bit of a throwback to when we used to use 2D. If you'd like to see 2D make a return, let me know in the comments. I feel like most people have moved on to 3D in Football Manager now. I do like 2D because I think you can better see how teams' shapes work, with their systems. For example, you can kind of see, I was about to say, you can kind of see here how our formation actually works in practice. It's sometimes a bit difficult to see it in the 3D view and visualize it, whereas when you've got the dots, you can kind of more clearly see exactly how a team's shape works out. Particularly if you're developing a system, I do actually recommend using 2D. I'm a fan of 2D. I'm an old school guy, but I feel like I didn't think I'd ever move away from 2D in Football Manager, and I did last year, and I do kind of like 3D, but at the same time, there is something that makes me feel warm and fuzzy about 2D. It's the wave of nostalgia, I think. You can see here, 0-0 at half-time. Boys, I am not happy with the performance out there. You really need to step it up in the second half. We've got changes we can make. You can see here, 2 clear-cut chances, 1 half chance as well. We were the team in the ascendancy as the game went on. Just unable to find that breakthrough just yet, which is, well, a tad bit disappointing and a tad bit concerning, perhaps. In terms of performers, you can see Simmons on a 6.2 at striker. I could take him off. Do I want to bring in Glatzel or do I want to bring in Rory Jarvis? You know what? I think we'll bring in Rory because he's happy at the club and he's not kicking up a stink. He's the well-behaved child. He deserves a chance on the pitch. We'll see what he can do leading the line. I do think he's still looking for his first goal at the club. He's not had that many appearances, to be fair. And when he has played, most of the time it's been on off the bench, like it will be again today. Anyway, we're on the attack here. McDermott. O'Connor, the only option in the middle. Can he pick him out? He can. It's hoofed clear, but only as far as Benny Tilney. To Newell now. Can he get it forward? Tilney back with the ball out wide here. I'm really enjoying the 2D. I shouldn't be enjoying this as much as I am. Mandanda. Can he make something happen? O'Connor to McDermott. This is really nice build-up play which leads to absolutely nothing. Why were we shown that? What was the purpose of that highlight? We are on key highlights. I'm not going crazy. I even double-checked it. Right, we've made one change. We should probably make some more here. Mandanda's not having the best of games, but he's the kind of player who can really turn it around. Newell on a bucking is concerning, so I'm going to bring in Sull. I think we'll hold on to our last sub for now. You'd have to say Marsh has actually done okay. A 6.9 rating really isn't that bad. He's kept a clean sheet, which is all you can ask for from your defence, really. Maybe I'm speaking too soon here. Maybe I've jinxed it. Can we apply pressure high up the pitch here? You can see them trying to make something happen. They're going to try and maybe switch the play out to this right-hand side. Maybe catch in transition. Oh my gosh, Rory. Rory, please. Rory, please. He's kicked it straight at the keeper. It was a chance for Jarvis. It was his moment. And he's fluffed his lines. You can see O'Connor's been pretty poor on a 6.8. Patterson not had the best of matches. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something odd here. I'm going to play O'Connor as the inside forward, and I'm actually going to bring in Glatzel into the team as the complete forward. I don't think we've actually played O'Connor out on the left before, but why not give it a roll of the dice? There's not a lot to lose in this game right now. A draw wouldn't be the worst result in the world against Cliftonville. They are good. At home, though, you'd hope to beat them. We've had the chances to beat them as well. 3 clear-cut chances, 1 half chances. They've done nothing, really. Maybe one last chance here for us. There's 3 minutes left of extra time. 5 minutes added total. Let's not concede late as well. Marsh, nice header by him to O'Connor. Playing in that kind of slightly unusual position. He is naturally a left attacking mid, but he's never really been given the chance there. Gormley, maybe with a chance to win it here for Cliftonville. Wow. I mean, what a finish that is. I was convinced he was going to miss it. I thought he's narrowed the angle way too much there. It was O'Connor's poor pass that led to the goal. And it's just one big hoof ball up the pitch that's kind of caught us out. You'd think that Marsh, the pacey defender, would be able to do something. I mean, what a finish that is. Fair play. I can't argue with it. This is 17th of the season for Gormley. I mean, there's literally no time left. Maybe Mandanda. Last kick of the game. Can he make it happen? Back post. McElhaney. Maybe back across they're going to clear it. That's going to be all she wrote. 1-0 Cliftonville. It's a familiar scoreline. And it does keep things just a little bit interesting at the top. That was not good enough to book day, boys. I can change back to direct to camera now. But I enjoyed the 2D. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. The 2D was all right. There's a change of pace. But yeah, unfortunately for us, it just didn't work out there. Cliftonville, they closed the gap to 5 points. There's only, well, 8 games left of the season, so you'd hope we can still see things out here. You can see now Glenavon really off the pace after we've just beaten them. They've kind of slowly slipped away, and you can see Ballymena as well, just slowly losing ground, as have Crusaders, to be fair. Crusaders on a really poor run of form, I feel like. Yeah, you can see here, damn, absolutely awful. Anyway, in terms of when we'll be back next time, you've got the Irish Cup final, or rather the Northern Irish Football League Cup final. That'll be the next game we do. A big game for us, and it's against Cliftonville. We need revenge against them. Hopefully we can get it. That game actually being played on a Tuesday. Again, similarly to, I think it was last year, this competition as well. It got reorganised around another tournament that it shouldn't be reorganised around. So it's a midweek final. 3 days after our previous fixture as well. Not going to be easy on the legs, but well, hopefully we can recover and be good for it. We've got 2 weeks to try and book up our ideas and work out how we're going to beat Cliftonville. I feel like when you look at the stats of this game, you probably would say that we should have won. But ultimately, we didn't take the chances that came our way, and that's something we've got to try and address here. Anyway, only 2 or 3 days left of the transfer window now, so it's going to get interesting. Perhaps there may be a few new faces next time you're here. I guess you'll have to come back to find out. Anyway, guys, that's going to be all from me. Big game next episode. Revenge on the cards, hopefully against Cliftonville in the Northern Irish Football League Cup final. Hopefully I see you guys for it. And, well, other than that, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.